We are back up at the start here. You can see the umpires just getting into position for the start of event number 47. That's the women's under 19 pair. In lane 2, we have Saratoga. In lane 3, Wayland Weston. Lane 4, Niagara Falls. Lane 5, Argentina. Lane 6, Saugatuck. And in lane 7, the Thompson Boat Club.
Niagara Falls Rowing Club, a fairly new program, as I understand it. Out of course, Niagara Falls, just kind of down the street, not quite to the United States border here between Niagara Falls and Buffalo. Tony Arcuri, the coach of the Lane 4 crew of Lauren Bench and Peyton Learn, he used to be a longtime coach here in St. Catharines Rowing Club. He coached me a couple times when I was a junior here, and he, I believe, as part of the leadership team, has really kind of stepped up and opened up that Niagara Falls Rowing Club and opening that opportunity for those athletes to have a more local club.
Of course, Peyton and Lauren are very experienced athletes, even at the age under 19, both rowing for E.L. Crosley. Peyton was actually an athlete of mine at South Niagara as an under 17 athlete, and both are just very, very tenacious athletes.
So it'll be interesting to see what they can do as one of the top-seeded crews into this race, lined up next to Argentina. Argentina, obviously, strong contenders, perennial contenders here in really all their crews that they bring. Of course, having an exciting showing in the senior men's 8 to start off today's finals that they won quite handily.
Absolutely, Oh, and they are off. You can see there, they're still struggling a little bit with the conditions. That Saratoga crew closest to us with Team Olivia in bow and Olivia in stroke, just having a couple of strokes where they're having a tough time getting the blades off the water. But let's see what happens. As we know, it does get a little bit flatter in that bottom 500, so they just kind of have to get through the top half of the course and look forward to better water.
Yeah, these can be really challenging conditions for small boats and for inexperienced athletes. Of course, this women's under 19 pair, they're probably not brand new to the sport, but they are certainly not as well drilled as some of the senior athletes will have been. And the pair, perhaps the most challenging, certainly one of the most challenging boats to move quickly. So we'll see what these athletes can do in these challenging conditions.
Of course, the crew from Argentina, Manuela and Olivia as well, another Olivia in this event, they came 5th in the under 23 women's pair. So they've already come through heats and semifinals and finals to make a final in an under 23 event, and now also racing in this under 19 event today.
That is excellent. They clearly come up here for a lot of racing, trying to get as much quality racing as they can. And we'll see what they can do, what their pedigree is. It does seem to be, I think, Niagara Falls and Saugatuck who are out in front. We'll see as they draw even with the 500-meter pylon just where those standings are. Just gonna close in. Yeah, you can still see some of these crews bouncing around a little bit, getting caught in the wake as the waves will start to come down in the next 500, 1,000 meters, but it's still very challenging conditions for these smaller boats and less experienced athletes. But it does so far seem to be Saugatuck's race by about half a boat over Argentina, who's got another deck perhaps over the Niagara Falls Rowing Club.
This is exciting stuff. There were 39 entries in this event, going from heats to semifinals to finals. So, we've repeated this a number of times today, but just making a final in these under 17 and then under 19 events, it really is a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, there are so many crews out there that come to Canadian Henley that have lots of crews, large junior programs that enter many athletes. Many athletes get a lot of racing, get a lot of race experience. And it speaks to the quality that you have to make it to these finals. And you do get a lot of these finals that are hotly contested. I do want to note, we do have, as you said, 2 Olivias in the Saratoga crew in lane 2, closest to our screen. Saratoga, I think perhaps a bold move by that coach. I have had that position. I put myself in that position as a coach, where you put the 2 athletes with the same name in a crew. It can be challenging because then you call them by their name, and they don't know which one you might be talking to.
You know what? Sometimes some of this advice in rowing is just universal. So when you're giving one piece of advice to one athlete, it might be applicable right across the board.
You
So
make
as
a
we're
good point.
watching here from the 1,000-meter pylon, it does look like we've got Saugatuck, that's Bonnie and Justine in lane 6, looking very strong. But from this angle, it could be hard to tell. Let's wait and see what happens as we cross that halfway mark.
Yeah, certainly Argentina not giving in, not giving up. They're still pushing up. Did see maybe a bit of a crab out of the Niagara Falls Club. Still some challenging conditions. The water is starting to get flatter as they approach the 1,000-meter mark. Does seem to be Saugatuck still perhaps opening their lead just a bit over the rest of the field. Yeah, Saugatuck over Argentina at the halfway mark of the women's under-19 final. Niagara Falls still in there, still with contact on Argentina, who just might be outside of contact with Saugatuck. We'll see what they can all do in the bottom half of this race.
Last year, this event was won by Brockville Rowing Club, just out closer to Kingston. They're racing for the Tom McGuinness Memorial Trophy. Tom McGuinness was known affectionately as Pa, and he got involved in rowing when his granddaughter, my friend Lisa Terryberry, took up the sport at the age of 11. He would drive her to practice, help her cruise on the dock, and cheered her on through high school and her first year of university. Likewise, he supported his daughter, Kathy, when she took up master's sculling. When Lisa and Kara Farquharson won the junior women's pair for South Niagara at the 2002 Henley Regatta, he was upset that there was no trophy for this event, and so, after he passed away, his family decided that a fitting way to honor him and his dedication to them would be to donate a trophy for that event in his memory. Each Henley, members of Pa's family make the presentation of the trophy, and I'm sure that Lisa and the rest of her family are down there in the grandstands watching this event as it comes through the bottom 1,000 right now. Hi, Lisa.
That's really nice. That's a nice story. Still some really tight racing here in the women's under-19 pair as they're drawing past the island. Certainly the Niagara Falls crew, and I'm sure all the others, their coaches will be down near the docks watching this race unfold, perhaps pacing, perhaps standing stoically. I'm sure as other coaches know, you all get your own kind of individual ways where you handle and you respond to the stress of watching the race come past. But there will be the friends, the family, the other coaches, the teammates that are going to be cheering on. And this is where you start to get a little bit of a preview of the roar you're going to feel as you cross the next set of buoys that are going to change. In about 250 meters, they'll cross the red buoys and really start to feel the crowd in the grandstands. But right now, just a preview of that from the island. And so far, it is still Saugatuck pretty much maintaining the lead they've had for the last 500 meters over Argentina. And we'll see what the rest of the field does.
Interesting note, Justine McGuire, of course, winning gold medal at Head of the Charles last year. Bonnie Pushner from Saugatuck also getting invited to the U.S. rowing under-19 women's national camp or national team training camp this past June.
That's impressive, and again, just goes to show the standard of racing here at Henley, not just the senior events, but here in some of the junior events, the under-19. That does mean these athletes will not turn 19 this year. They have to be 18 years old or younger, and these athletes, of course, out of Saugatuck, really high level of experience, high pedigree of racing, and they're putting it to the test against the Argentina crew, who's trying to close in and close that gap that Saugatuck's built up over the first 1,500 meters of this race. They're approaching the final red buoys, the last 250 meters of the race, and we'll see how this is going to unfold.
I know the grandstands at this time of day on Henley Saturday, they're probably absolutely packed. Lots of people who are cheering, getting ready, especially in just a few events time, we'll be getting ready for the dash events. So there'll be a lot of noise, and you can see the umpire there. In a pair, they tend to have to worry about steering just a little bit more. And
I think Argentina might be ahead now. It's tough to say from the angle, but they seem to have closed the gap. They were bow to stern for the last basically the middle 1,000 meters of this race.
It does look like Manuela and Bausi, that Argentinian pair, taking a look over just to see what's going on. It's going to be neck and neck here.
Yeah, they're rowing really clean. I think the fatigue is showing a little bit. Both boats really jamming up their stroke rate, trying to take more strokes, trying to get the surge, trying to get the bow ball across the line first, get the stroke in. I think Saugatuck I don't know. That's really tight.
I can't seem to tell who's celebrating. Oh, I don't know if that's a good celebration or
I don't know. Too close to call
I'm
from
going to
the
call
angle
that too
where
close, but let's see what
unofficially,
happens.
remember these are going to be unofficial results. Certainly, at least until all the athletes cross the line. You can, of course, go to regattamaster.com, find the official results, but here, unofficially, we have Saugatuck in a time of 8 minutes, 10.32 seconds. That's 0.74 over Argentina.
Exciting stuff, Brent. You can see the timing system that we have here, some of the legacy from the Pan Am Games definitely coming into play as Saugatuck unofficially winning the women's under 19 pair.
Well raced, all those athletes, but particularly the Saugatuck and Argentina girls. Really, really well done.